So we are on a quest to grow as disciples, to mature as disciples and get better as disciples. And so we're looking at a whole bunch of characteristics of what a disciple is like. And we're starting this list with love, this thing that is all around us, that makes the world go round. You can make it, fall in it, fall out of it, all that. We're asking, what is the Christian distinctive about love? When the Bible talks about love, what is it that we're talking about? Is it something that's just what culture says it is, or is it something different? So we kicked off with this bonkers story about a guy called Jacob who's just wandering around one time and comes across a well in the middle of the field with some shepherds around it with some sheep, and they're waiting for the appointed time when they're going to roll the stone off the top of the well, and all the other shepherds and the sheep from around the surrounding area have come for their evening meal. They're going to feed themselves, feed the sheep, water the sheep, and then go back off for the night. Over the hill he sees this hot young shepherdess coming over the hill, and he's like, oh wow, I want to spend some time with her. So he begs the other shepherds, could you guys feed the sheep quickly and get out of here, because I want to spend some time with her. Whilst he's still begging them, she arrives, and so he tries to chat her up, and he discovers that actually he's a distant relation to her. Awkward. So she takes him back to her house, and she's like, hey Dad, I just found this guy down by the well, and he's a distant relation of ours, why don't you let him stay? Because the dad, Laban, is a little bit like the Godfather. He's like, hey, you're a son of mine, you come on in, my house, your house. And so Jacob stays at this house for a month, and he works, and he spends some time looking after the sheep, and he spends some time in the family. After a month, Laban says to him, look, you've been here for a month and you're just working like an employee, you're working hard, but just because you're family, you shouldn't do that for free. So what's your hourly rate? Jacob says to him, well look, how about you just give me board and lodging, but if I work for you for 7 years, then you can let me marry your hot young shepherdess daughter, Rachel. And Laban says to him, well look, I'm not sure if I'm okay with the cousin thing, but better you than anybody else out there, so sure, you work for 7 years, you get Rachel. So 7 years, that's 2,555 nights, Jacob works as a shepherd for his uncle Laban. At the end of 7 years, he says to him, look, time is up, dude, come on, let's have a wedding. And so they have a wedding, they have this big feast, and a little bit too much wine is knocking around. So much wine, in fact, that when Jacob goes to bed in the wedding boudoir that night, he doesn't notice that his uncle Laban secretly throws into the room, instead of beautiful Rachel, her ugly older sister Leah, the one that Jacob hasn't been fancying and working for the last 7 years. And then there's this beautiful line in the Bible that says, the next morning Jacob woke up and there was Leah. Like, what have I done? I've accidentally married the wrong sister. I've accidentally married my sister-in-law. This is horrible. So he rushes down to breakfast. He's like, hey, Uncle Laban, what the heck has happened? What did you do? How did you deceive me like that? Laban says to him, look, around here we don't marry off the younger daughter first, we marry off the elder daughter first. Look, why don't you finish off the week with the elder daughter Leah, and then when that's done you can marry the younger daughter Rachel that you've always wanted, but on the condition that you work for another 7 years for me. Crazy story, there's all kind of problems with it, but here's 2 lessons that we picked out from it. One is that in the eyes of the father, both daughters are worth 7 years. The hot young shepherdess who everybody looks at, who everybody admires, who everybody wants to be like, who everybody wants to get it on with, she's worth 7 years of your time, Jacob. The other sister, the ugly one, the one who doesn't tick all the boxes of society or culture, the one who hasn't got anything to give back to you, she's worth 7 years of your time, Jacob. Because the father sees beyond what everyone else sees. The father loves his kids the same. The father sees infinite value and worth and significance in each of his children. In the culture we live in, we say, look, you're pretty, or you're rich, or you're popular, or you've got potential, or you've got great earning ideas. You are easy to love. You over here who aren't pretty, don't fit into any stereotypes, haven't got enough money, haven't got great earning potential, haven't got a degree, whatever it is, you're difficult to love, and so you have less value. The father says, no, all of my kids have got the same value. That's really important to understand about God. The second lesson that we pulled out was this, and it was a lesson from Jacob, this tenacity of love that's actually at times unfoolish, where it says, I'm going to love and love and love, and I'm going to work for 7 years, compelled and propelled and motivated by love. And when something gets thrown at me that's like a curveball, that's unfair, that seems unjust, you know what? It's not gonna knock me down. It's not gonna destroy everything I've got. It's not gonna beat me, because biblical love is tenacious, it's patient, it keeps on going, it always protects, always perseveres, always hopes for tomorrow, always believes that love will win. It's tenacious. And so we said we want to be inspired to be people who have love that comes from us rather than is born in other people. We can say, look, I love you not because of what you give, but because of what's in me, and in me is the heartbeat of the Father. And we're going to be a people who are tenacious in love, because let's be honest, we all know people in our family, our friends, our neighborhood, our workplaces, whatever, who we've stopped loving because they don't have an ability to give back to us anymore. So our inspiration this week was to be tenacious in love, to mirror the same love that God has for us that resides in the heart rather than it finds its impetus in other people. That was our challenge for this week. Got another great story coming up this week, so get down to church on Sunday if you can, get into a group if you can, as we explore what it means biblically to love.